Queen Unique, the acting queen, coming to you with another deadly romance. Today's story is about Lorenzen Wright. He was a Memphis um, basketball player for the Memphis Grizzlies, and his story is very sad and very tragic. So let me introduce you to him and what happened to him. His full name is Lorenzen Vern Gagne Wright. He was born November 4th, 1975, and he was tragically murdered July 19th, 2010, by his wife, of course. He has played for the LA Clippers, the Atlanta Hawks, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Sacramento Kings, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The last team he played for before he was brutally murdered was the Memphis Grizzlies. So, when he was in college, he was he he played for the Utah Jazz. Well, he tried out, I should say, for the Utah Jazz professionally. He was raised in Oxford, Mississippi. He played for Lafayette High School in Mississippi before moving to Memphis, where he spent his senior year playing for Booker T. Washington High School. He played all levels of basketball in Memphis: high school, collegiate, and professional. His father, Herb, was also a basketball player who competed in Finland. Oh, it was his father who tried out for Utah Jazz. Um, when Lorenzen Wright was 7 years old, his father, Herb, was working for Memphis Police Department when he was paralyzed by a gunshot to the back. Um, by the time he was older, he was selected seventh by the LA Clippers in the 1996 NBA draft out of University of Memphis. On April 26, 1997, as a rookie, he scored what would be his postseason high career high 17 points in a game 2 loss against the Utah Jazz, which was the the team that his dad did tryouts for. Um, he scored a season high 32 points and grabbed 15 rebounds in an overtime loss to the LA Lakers. He moved on to the Atlanta Hawks in 1999, and during his career for that, he averaged a 2.4 point game during the 2000 to 2001 NBA season. He was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies on June 27th, 2001. Um, in 2000, he and three native Memphis players provided financial assistance to a Memphis orphan. I'm not going to name anybody, but whose tragic story garnered national attention. He also founded the Sierra Simone Wright Scholarship Fund after the death of his infant daughter in March of 2003. That same year, Lorenzen Wright returned to the University of Memphis to finish his degree. So that's a little bit about him. Now, he um, got married, went on to have another family, and was still playing basketball. And on July 18th, 2010, he left his home in Collierville, Tennessee, and he had neither been seen nor heard from again. On July 22nd of 2010, his family had filed a missing persons report. His body was found 6 days later in a wooded area of Callis Cutout Road, just west of Hacks Cross Road. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit dicey because his wife at that time, um, she was not really the most friendliest person, and she a lot of people said she was jealous of him and that she only married him for his money. But after his death, she moved on very quickly, and people started having suspicions, and these articles started coming out. Here's one of them. Oh, wrong screen. My bad. Here's one of them that um it just didn't make any sense, all the different stories she was telling. She didn't have her facts straight. So with this, let's look at this. It says his mother is the one who had reported him missing, and his skeletal remains was found in a wooded area near a golf course. This story is called How Sierra Wright Orchestrated the Murder of Her Ex-Husband, NBA star Lorenzen Wright. Um, Now during, oh yeah, he had been dead for 9 days when the police cadaver dogs found him. He was decomposed. Um, he was shot twice in the head, twice near his heart, and once in his forearm, according to the autopsy report that was released 4 months later. Now, during the investigation, his wife told the investigators that he left their home in Collierville, Tennessee, to conduct a possible drug deal, and that was the last time that she had saw him. And that he was carrying a unspecified amount of money, according to news reports at the time. Shortly after midnight on July 19th, a 911 call was made from his phone. The dispatcher who received the call only heard gunshots, and then the line went dead. So they pretty much captured his murder on the phone. Um, you could go check out the episode if they have it on A&E Killer Cases on October 22nd, 2020. It took a long time to find it, but that's a sick, 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 sick woman that you would sit there and, yeah, they have been together for 13 years. Um, when they had divorced, and it was 5 months before his body was found. So she was in this. Either he didn't change his life insurance yet, or even maybe she took out a life insurance on him. And nobody knows what really actually happened. But what we do know is that she hired a hitman to kill him. And we don't know if the hitman was her supposed boyfriend, um, somebody that she had an affair with. We just know that 2 people so far were involved in his murder. And the wife is obviously, any spouse is obviously the first suspect. But what boggles me is that it took so long when all the clues was right there. All of them. It was not hard to see, yet it took a long time for them to arrest her and to prosecute for his murder. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Father, husband, son, friend, and NBA superstar Lorenzen Wright is someone most remember as a great man, a man who cared for others and his family. Lorenzen also had a passion for the game of basketball, a passion that ran so deep that he would eventually become a professional player in the NBA. Lorenzen Wright played 13 seasons for the NBA, with teams from the Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies, and the Sacramento Kings, to name a few. Lorenzen had definitely made a name for himself in the NBA. But in 2010, his life tragically came to an end, with his high school sweetheart being involved and directly in the middle of his death.
There were three suspects in his death. Three. The suspects were his wife, their landscaper, and the wife's cousin. They were taken into custody. Her name was Shara. The landscaper's name was Billy Ray Turner, and her cousin Jamie Martin were hauled to the police station um, for questioning. Martin, her cousin, testified in court that Shara Wright recruited him and Turner to kill Lorenzen. That's so sad. Again, there was a 911 call that he attempted to make the morning of July 19th, just after he had disappeared. But the dispatcher could not locate him and could not make out what he was saying. All she had heard was gunshots in the background. In court, they played those gunshots in the background in Shara's trial, and they played them in front of the jury. They played that 911 call. Now, in this article from the um, New York Post, it has right here. This is the wife. Um, she ended up pleading guilty to a charge of facilitation of first-degree murder and was sentenced to 30 years. Um, she ended up recently going for parole, and her parole was denied. This is their landscaper, Billy Ray Turner. He was one of the main ones that was recruited. So it says right here, the previous murder attempt, they tried to kill him before, but it was unsuccessful. It says right here, previous murder attempt. Prosecutors said that Martin and Turner had previously gone to Lorenzen's Atlanta apartment with guns. They reportedly broke in, only to find someone sleeping on the couch with Lorenzen not home. They left, and his wife hatched another plan. The prosecutors at her trial, his trial, Turner's trial, said that they had a romantic relationship, which obviously a lot of affairs or previous romances would be what's involved in murders, which, I mean, that wasn't surprising. We knew it was like her lover or something like that. And the thing is about this, that her and Lorenzen were divorced around 5 months before he was murdered. Now, this is another thing right here. He was a landscaper in Atlanta and had met her through the church that they both attended. Bible thumping fakes. That's what it is. This is a sad picture. This is grandma. Oh, more she touches his casket. His service was in Memphis. She told her cousin that she conspired a plan with Turner to have Lorenzen meet her at a field where he would be attacked. her cousin had explained in testimony that Shara, who is the wife, told him that she and Turner ambushed Lorenzen after luring him there. They chased him, and he jumped the fence and tried to escape before they shot him. She had maintained a story that her ex-husband Lorenzen was killed in a drug deal gone bad. Now nobody knows for sure if he was on drugs, if he was doing drugs. That was never determined to be the case. If he was selling drugs or doing drugs or anything like that. Um, all we know is that that's the excuse that she gave to try to justify what she did. But as far as I know, those have been unfounded. She was arrested, I want to say, in 2017 because I think it took 7 years for them to arrest her. And again, he was murdered in 2010. Um, and so in 2019, she changed her story and pled guilty to a charge of facilitation of first-degree murder. The cousin um, was being tried for a murder of his girlfriend, so he had his own case. He had received immunity for this case, so he wasn't being charged in his case at all, which I don't think immunity should have been given to him. He should have faced, even if it was a smaller charge, he should have faced consequences for this. Um, and according to his story, the cousin, um, he had told them that the Turner, the hired hitman, the worker of the house, disposed of the gun in the North Mississippi Lake, and he had told detectives where to locate the gun in 2012. And it was later recovered by the FBI divers only 50 miles from where Lorenzen's body was discovered, and Turner was arrested in 2017, shortly after the murder weapon was found. The jury only deliberated 2 hours. That is a very short deliberation. 2 hours before they found Billy Turner guilty of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy in Lorenzen's death on March 21st, 2021. He, of course, was sentenced to life in prison. Now, this is the motive that most people believed because there was actually no clear motive. But, of course, life insurance is always a big one when it comes to spouses or any kind of relationship like that. Um, she was still on his life insurance policy. His mother even said that she killed him to access his $1 million life insurance policy. And it says that she went through the $1 million quickly after his death. The policy was in place to care for the couple's 6 children living if something did happen to him. But she spent that up like that, no problem. She spent it up. He had 6 kids. And I said in the beginning of this video that one of his kids had passed away. So yeah. And the weird thing about it is her sentence was 30 years. But she was already able to see parole early after just a few years. Which that was really unheard of, to be sentenced to a 30-year prison sentence. Usually if you're sentenced to 30 years, you shouldn't even be expecting to see parole until, 10, 11, 12 years. somewhere around there. She was only in there barely 3 years, 2.5 years, 3 years before she saw the parole board. And two of the children had advocated to the Tennessee Board of Parole to advocate for her early release in May 2022, which, yeah, that's barely 3 years. While another um, person um, was like, nope, not at all. She claimed that she had been behaving well in prison and should be released early, a request that was denied. She is serving her sentence at a rehabilitation center and is required to stay for 30% of it before talks of release. So the fact that she had even seen them that soon was definitely not even 30%. Now, I'm confused. This is armor shot. And she knew she was caught. She knew it. This man was an innocent man, but because she got greedy, so greedy, she decided that she wanted to take his money. That's a shame.
For the love of money is the root of all evil. And Shara Wright Robinson's love of money outweighed the love that she had, or lack thereof, for her husband and the father of her children, Lorenzen Wright. And with the help of her accomplice, Billy Ray Turner, their actions caused children to lose their father and for Lorenzen family to mourn the tragic death, knowing that Wright's life ended too soon.
Some of the worst things besides all of this, some of the extremely worst things besides all of it, is that Billy Ray Turner is denying his guilt. He's proclaiming his innocence and saying that he knows who really killed Lorenzen Wright. Let's watch and see who he believes killed Lorenzen Wright and see if this makes sense to you at all.
Killed Lorenzen Wright.
No, I did not. I never was there. I never was there.
That's Billy Ray Turner behind bars where he's spending life in prison, denying he had anything to do with the basketball star's death.
I kept telling the officer, "No, man, this ain't me. I didn't do this, man."
Turner reached out to the News Channel 3 investigator saying he wants to clear his name and talk about who he believes killed Lorenzen Wright.
I have all kind of documents of these people that could have set me free, but never was mentioned, never was brought up.
Turner mailed WREG some documents that we're still working to independently confirm. While covering the case, the News Channel 3 investigators combed through hundreds of pages of trial motions, but some are sealed. In fact, much of what's inside the files remains a secret. The Shelby County District Attorney's Office denied our public records requests to review the entire case and prosecutor's file, citing Turner's appeal.
So you said you didn't have anything to do with it. You did not kill Lorenzen. And who do you think did?
I think Jimmy Martin and his friends did. It wasn't all brought out. It was a lot of stuff that left out. Jimmy and his friends did it, whoever they may be.
Jimmy Martin.
Oh, yeah, y'all need to hear this too. This is why I said he got immunity. It was not okay.
Got immunity in this case for his testimony. He's Shara Wright's cousin and is already serving a 20-year sentence for killing his girlfriend.
And that's who Billy Ray Turner says he believes killed Lorenzen, that he had absolutely nothing to do with it. But he was part of it because it was him and Shara who had lured Lorenzen. That's all it was. That's all it was. And to say that you didn't have anything, it's easy to put the blame on somebody else. It's very easy to do that. But the thing is, he's already convicted. Somebody else is already in prison but for a whole different crime. So of course, who are you gonna go to? Oh, her relative. Oh, and also, who's this friend that the relative had? Who is the friend? Because you didn't mention the friend's name. He didn't mention the friend's name at all. Now, his mother, she has been very strong in all of this. And it's sad that she had to um, go through this and deal with what she dealt with this person who was married to her son, who took her son. It's a shame, you know. And she is in disbelief. She was left blown away as she avoided a murder trial. She really wanted her to go to trial, which is very understandable because she wanted all the deeds to come out. She wanted to know exactly what happened to her son. Exactly what happened. And she had every right to know. Every right. And this is some of her statement. And I quote, "I got here thinking it was to have a trial, but then they called us in a room back there and said, 'Wait a minute, we made a deal.' It just blew me away." End quote. That's horrible. Quote, "How is this possible?" Marion continued. "I'm thinking I'm going to come and hear everything that happened step by step, but no." And who could fault her as a parent for wanting to know exactly what happened to her son besides what was played for those few seconds on the 911 call? She wanted to know what happened to her son. And that's very reasonable, very understandable. He was a lovely person who made a name for himself. It was thing, and they look so happy here. So happy. She went from that to that. Just cold blooded and showed no remorse. Not a lick of remorse. She got what she wanted. She got her money's worth. Went through that $1 million. And it's sad. Instead of having the decency, yeah, you killed them, so you lost all decency, of course. But to even have a little minuscule amount, just a teeny bit amount of decency, you leave him in the field to decompose. And that's not okay. So, yes, they were finally indicted in December of 2017, more than 7 years after the killing. Yes, she pled to a lesser charge, of course, because it was first degree murder, but she pled guilty to um, facilitation, which, in a sense, is actually a higher crime than regular murder. She could have got way more time. That's why she took a plea deal. Because if she took a plea deal, then her sentence is adjusted. But usually the person who facilitates the murder is usually the one who gets a higher charge than the actual murderer, which people would say, oh, well, this person pulled the trigger. Why would they get less time for actually doing the killing? It's because the killing would have never happened or been thought of if it wasn't for the person going to him. And that's where lies the facilitation. That's where lies the conspiracy. And that's what makes it a buck. Because this person hired a hitman who was Billy Ray Turner to kill her husband. If she would have never hired him to kill her husband, ex-husband, he wouldn't be dead. So that's why she would have gotten it. So she probably would have, I don't know if Tennessee has a death penalty, but this could have potentially been a capital murder or a death penalty case. And it's sad to think that she threw her whole life away. Her kids' lives were changed because of this, over a life insurance that was meant for his kids, his 6 children. And see now, and the cousin said, no, my cousin that's under immunity said that he helped his cousin kill her ex-husband because she would help pay part of his legal fees for killing his girlfriend. It was a tragic night. It did not have to go down that way. One person's life was taken and multiple people's lives have changed because of this senseless, heinous crime that should have never happened. Should have never, ever happened. But justice was served in this case, and that's all that matters. Rest in peace to a legend, Lorenzen Wright. I'm Queen Unique, and I'm out.
Coming up, we'll be covering the controversy case of the sleepwalking murderer. Was Scott really sleeping? And was he able to convince the jury that he was? Find out on the next episode of Deadly Romance with host Unique Garland. Till next time.